We were talking about Mitchell Trubisky, and we were going back and forth. And I'm not saying Mitchell Trubisky is as good as Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's not even as good as Deshaun Watson. But if you look at their numbers right now in the regular season, 2 games, they're very similar, just like everybody else's. But also in their careers, their numbers are not far-fetched. It really wasn't. Mitchell Trubisky missed the first 3 or 4 games last year. He did. He missed the first, Eric, and I'm not. There's no lie on that. And I don't think Mitch Trubisky was 100% healthy last year. And you saw that. That's why he got pulled. That's why the backup was playing. And that's why everybody was saying, well, Mitch Trubisky, he won the job from Nick Foles. They were both fighting for that job at practice, and he beat Nick Foles, the Super Bowl winning MVP, a couple of years ago. So I'm not saying that Mitch Trubisky is a superstar quarterback. We don't know what he is. We still don't know what he is. But he's been good. He has been good for all the people that hate on him.
Well, listen, Errol, what I was getting at was you have to look at when you're comparing quarterbacks, the way I look at it, at least being a former safety, is like the threat, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're on the field, who can hurt you? You know, obviously everybody has respect for Patrick Mahomes, and you're going to treat your defense with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback different than you do Trubisky at quarterback. You know, obviously, 2 minutes left in the game. Mm-hmm. Does Trubisky strike fear in your defense? No, he doesn't. No. Patrick Mahomes, you're scared to death.
Yes.
Same with Deshaun Watson. He's miraculous, with the things that he does at the end of a game, and he does a great job of throwing the ball as well. So that's kind of how I rate quarterbacks when 2 minutes left in the game, you need a touchdown. Does he strike fear in the defense or not? And if he can't do that, then you can't say that he's elite, he's upper echelon, or he's even, great. Because if you don't strike fear in the defense, you don't threaten the defense. Yeah, I mean, you might get lucky, and get a touchdown drive one time or the other. But when you look at Aaron Rodgers, you look at Russell Wilson, you look at Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, all these guys, they put the fear of God into a defensive coordinator or into a secondary at times. So that's kind of the way I like to rate my quarterbacks and what they can do when it's all on the line.
That's fine. And I will say this about the New York Giants. The Giants are finding a lot of injuries. They lost Saquon Barkley for the season. That offensive line, the reconstructed offensive line, adding Thomas in the draft, some people thought was going to be the best offensive lineman, a.k.a. Speedy Petey, sitting right next to me right now, thought he was going to be the best offensive lineman in the draft. He has not played well. Now, they're not at full strength at the offensive line. Soldier is not playing this year because of the COVID-19 situation. So this might be a better offensive line if Soldier was playing. But Soldier's not going to be on the team next year because they're gonna release him at the end of the season. So all in all, the Giants have not looked good, even though they've been in most of the games. The 2 games that they played, they were in the Bears game. They were in last week too. So it's not that they're playing. They've played better than the Jets. And Daniel Jones, as far as I'm concerned, when you compare and contrast him and Sam Darnold, I hate to say it, but he's looked better in his first 2 years than Sam Darnold has in his first 3 years. So Daniel Jones I think he's the real deal. I don't know about this part. I don't think the wide receivers, the Sterling Shepards or any of these guys, they don't really stand out to me, Eric. I really don't. Slayton, all these guys, everybody thought that Slayton was going to be the next Odell. He's not Odell Beckham. This giant fan frenzy where everybody thinks that these guys are going to be that next Odell. Odell Beckham is a one-time type of player. You get those players every 10 years. And he's not even playing great football right now with the Browns, even though he had a fantastic game against the Bengals. So I don't know. I don't know where this Giant team is going to. I think we're going to have 2 bad New York teams besides the Buffalo Bills.
I agree. I mean, it's looking rough, for these 2 teams, but hopefully the future can be bright and they can start to develop and grow the organization from the ground up. And, it may take a year or 2 of lumps, but, they both have great players, Le'Veon Bell, Saquon, if they could stay healthy. I think that they both have franchise type quarterbacks and, their offensive lines are improving. And I think it's just a matter of getting, your culture, changing the culture, bringing in your kind of guys in the locker room. And it's not an overnight process. So we do have to be patient, although in New York, we're used to having success right now.
Well, not for the Jets.
Just not in our nature. Yeah. Well,
not for the Jets. You know all about that. You played for them, and I'm a fan of them. So the game that really stood out to me last week was the Cowboys game. Say whatever you want. All the fans out there that can't stand Dak Prescott, and there's a lot of people that can't stand Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had 450 yards thrown in that game. He had 3 run-in touchdowns. He was the best player on the field, hands down. The Atlanta Falcons have superstar players. Calvin Ridley has played fantastic. Julio Jones. They have Matt Ryan, who is MVP.
Former MVP.
Yeah, so Dak Prescott was the best player on the field. So in my eyes, Jerry Jones better open up his pockets because this guy is going to be demanding it. He deserves it.
Pay that man. You're gonna have to break the bank to pay Dak Prescott. I mean, last year you let him go into his season, go into his free agency year, and play out the season without signing him to a contract. This year, you look at him like he's crazy for asking for what was it? He was asking for 30.
I think he wanted $40 million. He wanted $40 million.
He wanted close to $40 million, and you looked at him like he was crazy. And then next thing you know, 2 quarterbacks get $40 million, and now it's not so crazy. So it's just going to keep getting more and more expensive, and the demands are going to get higher because he's still playing at an elite level. And it looks like the Cowboys are going to make some noise this year. They have a weaker division, and if he takes them into the playoffs, he has a great year like he did last year. I mean, he's going to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And you could say, oh, he's not the best quarterback. Nobody's saying he's the best quarterback. The NFL, when you become a free agent, it's all about timing. All those contracts is about timing and hitting the market at the right time. So I think Dak is going to be very happy with his decision to hold out and not hold out, from playing, but hold out and settling for a contract. And he's going to get a big time payday.
There's 2 games that really stuck out to me besides that game. How about the Vikings losing against the Colts? The Vikings, where everybody thought was going to be the dominant team, they made that trade to bring in a top pass rusher, Speedy Nagakwa, and with what this defense was supposed to be this year, losing Emerson Griffin. And Emerson Griffin, he's playing for the Cowboys. He's played well with the Cowboys. This defense, where everybody thought was going to be one of the best defenses in the league, you gave up 28 points to the Colts. Phillip Rivers and the Colts. This is not a good offensive team. They have a good offensive line, not a good offensive team. They lost their starting running back for the season. So Minnesota's 0-2.
They made Mo Alley Cox look like a all-pro. He had 100 and something yards receiving.
Unbelievable.
I was like, this guy's third on the depth chart. And he was killing.
Oh, my God. The Colts really stood out to me. Another game that really stood out to me was the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 2-0. And you can say whatever you want about a small quarterback. Kyler Murray is playing. He is my 3rd guy for the MVP. I would go Russell Wilson. I would go Aaron Rodgers. And then I would go Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has played great football. How many times has he been sacked this year? I think he's been sacked once or twice. I mean, he's been fantastic. The offensive line, that was one of the weakest parts of their team last year, is one of their strengths right now. They play great. Their defense has been sensational in the middle of the field. They have great secondary players that can help out in the front. The Cardinals are going to be very hard to beat. They're going to be really, really hard to beat.
Yeah, they're going to be tough. They are. And, they're starting to get a grasp for that offense. DeAndre Hopkins is an animal. They have a really good chemistry over there. But, one team that nobody's really talking about that I'm surprised is the Baltimore Ravens. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they look just as good as they did last year. Running the football. Lamar Jackson's throwing it well. He's running it well, obviously. Mark Ingram's doing a great job on the ground. That defense is playing well. I mean, that division, that AFC North, is going to get ugly because Pittsburgh's playing well also. So it's going to be a tough division up there, and I'm excited about that one too.
Player of the week is Justin Herbert. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes. The great Patrick Mahomes. Go look at the numbers. They're not even comparable. Justin Herbert was not supposed to play in the game. And obviously Tyrod Taylor got hurt before the game. They brought him into the game, and he played sensational. And if Justin Herbert could play the way he played last week throughout this year, this guy could absolutely be a superstar in the league. He's fantastic. He played fantastic against a very good defense.
Agreed. Justin Herbert really showed a lot of maturity and showed why he was touted so highly, before his senior year at Oregon. A big-time player. He's big. He's strong. He's a huge arm, confident in what he does, and has a great demeanor. But, listen, we do have to talk about Tyrod Taylor. Mm-hmm. Because you have to feel bad for that guy. He's a guy who's done nothing but everything the coaches asked for him. Organization. He took the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs. He gets released. He seems like this guy's always doing the right thing. And he never gets the opportunity, and he gets a chance. He wins a starting job in training camp. cracks his ribs, is going to play through it, and the doctor punctures his lung, giving him a shot before the game. When I heard that, that made me so angry.
Yeah.
He punctured his lung. And, you know, in a time where we have COVID and all these things, and it's really unfortunate. I know the NFLPA is looking to take action. They're looking into it, but it's really unfortunate that something like that could happen in the NFL before a game.
And Tom Brady wins his first game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. It wasn't sensational, that's for sure. But he squeaked in, and they played a Carolina Panther team that is fighting injury. They lost Christian McCaffrey in the game. Christian McCaffrey is going to be out for 6 to 7 weeks with an ankle sprain. I think it's a high ankle sprain. There's so many injuries this week, so many big time injuries. Nick Bosa's out for the season. Saquon Barkley's out for the season. McCaffrey's out for 6 or 7 weeks. Just so many injuries. And by the way, the Eagles, I don't know what's going on with the Eagles, but Carson Wentz might be losing his job. He might be losing his job, and very quickly. I don't know what's going on with the Eagles. Everybody thought that this team was going to be the best in the NFC East. They have been one of the worst in the NFC East. The Giants have looked better than the Philadelphia Eagles and the LA Rams. This team's played good. I can't really take shots at them. I'm not a big fan of Goff, but they've played good football. They're great defensively, and you're seeing it on the field, Eric.
Yeah, you are. They're playing some good ball. What about, you know, the team another team that surprised me with the way they played was the Raiders.
Yes.
Would you get a chance to see them beat the Saints?
We were going to talk about that when we come back from break, but yes, I think the Raiders right now and what Gruden is doing right now, what John Gruden is doing is sensational. I mean, they have one of the best young running backs in football, and they have arguably the best tight end in football that people don't even know about. And Derek Carr, say whatever you want about Derek Carr, and hearing stories about him and John Gruden not getting along, they're winning. They're 2-0 right now, and they have a chance to win the division. Say whatever you want. Kansas City has not looked good. They haven't looked at the top of their game, good at the top of the game yet. So if Oakland sticks with them, they can win the division. Oakland could be a wild card team. So they're my surprise team right now in the NFL.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to, you know, go on talking about them if we're going to talk about them next segment. But but they were. I mean, I thought they were very impressive. You know, I thought their defense was physical. I like the way they called the game offensively. Josh Jacobs is a problem as a running back. He's so shifty and strong. And, you know, Rashard is also a great running back. They have a nice 1-2 punch with them. But, you know, I really was impressed with the way Las Vegas played.